venue today in the Portuguese municipality of Alcochete. Well, let's have a look at the team news. Two changes for Sporting from their 3-1 victory at Sturm Graz on match day 3. Spaniard Lucas Dominguez comes in at centre-back in place of Afonso Lee, who had started each of the first 3 league phase games, but begins this one on the bench. No João Simoes today. He was on the first team bench on Friday, so Raihan Mamad comes in a slightly more advanced role than usual. Eduardo Felicissimo and Gabriel Silva have both scored twice through the first 3 games. Manchester City make 3 alterations from the 3-0 home win over Sparta Prague last time out in the competition. Max Alén, a regular in the last couple of Youth League campaigns, comes in as captain for his first appearance at this one, because Jamae Simpson-Pusi is with the senior squad tonight in the Champions League, as is Jacob Wright, so Charlie Gray steps into midfield, whilst Regan Heskey is preferred to Ryan McAdoo in the front 3. So we are off and underway. It is the home side, Sporting, that get the action started, playing from right to left in this first period. Both of these teams full of confidence after recent results in this competition. Manchester City also so successful recently domestically. Both the under-21s and the under-18s in good form. And players from both of those sides really combining in this competition, as they did so impressively in the last couple of games. The 3-0 win at home to Sparta Prague, and prior to that a 4-0 victory at Slovan Bratislava. Early free kick conceded right on the touchline. No surprise, really, to see Regan Heskey coming into the starting lineup today. Still only 16 years of age, but a hat-trick for the under-21s on Friday, in the space of just 22 minutes after coming on as a substitute. Another Jaden Heskey there going down. 2 years Regan's senior. Confirming the yellow card was shown for Regan right from the start, into the book already. Both the sons of Emil Heskey, of course. Both making their way in the game with Manchester City. Early stage is going to be fascinating here, because Sporting have been in good form as well. 3-1 winners at Sturm Graz last time out. They beat PSV by 2-0. Both of those victories were on their travels. The one previous home game they've had here so far in this competition was a 2-2 draw against Lille on match day 1. Twice came from behind in that game, and needed an equaliser 7 minutes into stoppage time to earn a point. And those are the only 2 points, though, that they have dropped so far in this competition. Jaden Heskey was battling for it. Lucas Dominguez will clear it away. Forward by Samuel, asking Alfred Ruprecht to try and chase it. The foot was high there. The challenge missed time by Manuel Mendonça, and the free kick is Manchester City's. Taken pretty quickly by Kyle Samuel. Charlie Gray slotting back into midfield today. Also started the 4-0 victory at Slovan Bratislava in their last away game. Only 5 named on the bench for Manchester City, by the way, in reserve. They've lost it here in potentially dangerous territory. Mamad. Felicissimo getting involved. Back goes Sporting to their own half in prioritising possession. Denilson Santos at left back. Manuel Mendonça ahead of him. Santos has continued on the surge. He's the one that provides the cross. They're both claiming the final touch came off the other there, but it's going to go, I think, for the goal kick. To the release of Stephen Mfuni. Third straight start for him in the Youth League. He's another of the 16-year-olds in this Manchester City side. Already in England under-19 international at centre-back. Just runs away from Caden Braithwaite over there. He's already made a first-team debut this season, the left-back, in the third-round victory against Watford in the EFL Cup. Played every minute of the Youth League so far. Flavio Gonçalves trying to force a way through, comes back his way to have a go. And Watford just got enough behind it. It wasn't convincing from the goalkeeper, but he was able to turn it away from his target, as it turned out. Set up to be struck by Flavio Gonçalves. And he's a little grateful there, the goalkeeper, to see it drop the other side of his post. Still potential punishment to be applied from the corner, maybe, by Sporting here, once the referee's ready. And it goes into the right sort of area. Still work to do for Manchester City to get it clear. Came for Alpha Ruprecht in the end. They don't get too far with it. Stretch on there for Flavio Gonçalves to keep it in, with the intent of keeping the pressure on. Strong start from Sporting. Manchester City's best run in this competition was to the semi-finals in 2018, that defeat against Barcelona in Nyon. And there is Thiago Teixeira taking over in charge of this team as the head coach for Sporting, previously the assistant. Changes at the very top, of course, with Ruben Amorim very shortly departing for Manchester to Manchester City's great rivals United. And it's believed that João Pereira is a candidate to replace him as Sporting's first-team head coach. Currently one of his assistants. Amorim will be taking some of his staff with him. An announcement to be made later by Sporting as to what this succession plan will be. November the 11th, I believe, is the reported date for that announcement. João Pereira in line for that job, previously the B-team coach. He's been looking after the Youth League side as well in that role, but Thiago Teixeira stepping up now. Stepping forward here for Manchester City, Stephen Mfuni. No way through for Makassar over there. Regan Heskey having covered good ground initially. Remarkable impact that he had in that last game for the under-21s. It was his first appearance for them actually this season in Premier League 2. 5-0 win against Norwich City. 7 in 7 for the under-18s this season for Heskey. Samuel getting a foot in here. Alpha Ruprecht. Well, here's Max Elaine, back to skipper the side for his first Youth League appearance of this season, having been a regular in the previous two campaigns. Jemai Simpson-Pusi had started all 3 Youth League matches this season before his recent first-team involvement. He was on the bench in the Premier League in the defeat at Bournemouth on Saturday. He's in the travelling squad to face Sporting tonight in the Champions League. Here's Heskey once more, taking on Daniel Costa. And cutting it back just in time. Looked like he was about to run out of room there. Almost came the way of brother Jaden in the middle. The danger hasn't entirely been dealt with yet. Heskey looked like he might be coming back from an offside position there. Boadu giving chase as well. That one had gone out of play, says the referee. Well, first season in the job for Ben Wilkinson. After such success with the under-18 side, he replaced Brian Barry Murphy as the elite development squad lead coach this summer, in charge of the under-21s as well as this team in Europe. He's U21s have won their last 7 Premier League 2 matches to go top of the table. Alpha Ruprecht here on the move. Could be a key battle, that one, between he and Denilson Santos, who was perhaps relieved only to concede the corner in the circumstances. It's cut short for Mukasa. And swung in by Samuel. Missing out everybody in the middle. Here's Heskey. Alain. Senior member of this side now at 19, Max Alain. Clearance was by Denilson Santos. Sporting pressing with intensity when they don't have it, but this is a useful period of Manchester City possession. And towards Jaden Heskey by Alpha Ruprecht, who started the game in a lively fashion down the right-hand side. One of the more obvious threats thus far. Here he is again, the German. For Ruprecht's 3rd season in the Youth League. Debuted in the victory against Sevilla back in November of 2022. Scored both the Manchester City goals in their opening defeat, actually, the 4-2 loss at home to Inter. They've bounced back from that with successive victories. Sporting's turn to enjoy a little bit of possession, but the difference being that this one is deep inside their own half of the field, although they've worked it well here for Flavio Gonçalves. And now there is more of a threat at the other end. Mamad will reach it. Cuts it back for Daniel Costa. Sight of goal blocked. Enrique Ariol trying to pick up the pieces here. Now the captain, Manuel Mendonça, for Flavio Gonçalves. Squeezing the shot just wide. It had Watmouth worried for a moment. Patient and probing from the Portuguese in the build-up here, and it wasn't far wide, was it, from Gonçalves? And just his 2nd Youth League appearance. The 17-year-old has looked lively early on. Both the most meaningful efforts at goal of the game so far have been provided by Flavio Gonçalves. Braithwaite dispossessed, tight to the touchline. Little option really therefore but to concede the throw. Sporting back in this competition this season after missing out last year. They were semi-finalists when they last contested it a couple of campaigns ago. Only lost to the eventual winners AZ on penalties in those semi-finals. They topped their group as it was then with 14 points unbeaten. Put out Ajax and Liverpool as well, en route to the last 4. Semi-finals as far as either of these clubs have got in this competition down the years. Different format, of course, in the new campaign, certainly in terms of the Champions League path. Mirroring the 36-team league phase of the seniors side, but only for the first 6 match days. That's where the Youth League phase will be concluded. Teams in the top 22 making the knockouts, where they'll be joined by 10 clubs that come through the expanded 3 rounds of the domestic champions path. A little bit of space for Gabriel Silva here. Certainly one of the chief dangers in this Sporting side. 2-goal joint top scorer through the first 3 games of this season's competition. Both teams working hard when they don't have the ball in trying to close down the opposition. Forward by Lucas Dominguez. Denilson Santos. Got his foot in again. Gabriel Silva there to pick up the pieces. Felicissimo. This is Daniel Costa. Just a little time on the ball to assess his options. And it might come all the way through to Denilson Santos. It did. Probably shouldn't have done. He helps it on to Flavio Gonçalves. Didn't quite open up this time. The angle for him to get the shot away. He was looking for it. He's certainly been in the mood so far. And that kept in play, but potentially to Manchester City's cost here. Flavio Gonçalves trying to take advantage. Lane was in there, flinging himself at that without really getting any sort of contact on the ball. He stayed down at the end of that, which is why the referee has intervened here. Max Lane, who's played 8 times previously in this competition in the last couple of seasons, featuring in it, as mentioned, for the first time this season to date. Both of these teams have impressed defensively recently. Sporting conceding just once and winning their last 2 games. Manchester City keeping clean sheets in both of their back-to-back victories. On paper, this should be tougher, and there hasn't been much in it in the opening quarter of an hour. Major moments of alarm have been at the Manchester City end, but only a couple of them really so far. Home team forced all the way back to their goalkeeper, Miguel Gudela. And that was risky. Jadon Heskey switching it in field, but giving it away. Nobody there in blue, it's Gabriel Silva instead, and he has 3 in front of him for Sporting. Still with Gabriel Silva, and not making enough of it, really. Unable to pick the pass at the end of that. He was spoilt for choice, really. Muffin goal, had that nervy early moment. He will clear this one away. He's another of the 16-year-olds. 3rd straight start for him in the Youth League. Ariol, unable to lift it into the area as intended. Manchester City building from the back. Short goal kick routine. It did involve Watmuth, despite the fact he didn't take it initially. Manchester City yet to manage an attempt at goal. 2 from Flavio Gonçalves at the other end. The major moments thus far. First meeting between the clubs at this level. Wonderful job that Ben Wilkinson has done with Manchester City, working his way up. First joined the academy as an assistant under-23s coach to Paul Harsley. Took over the under-16s as their lead coach in the summer of 2020, the under-18s a year later. Three really successful seasons in that job. And now stepping up to replace Brian Barry Murphy once he decided that a new challenge was required in the summer. Before him, it was Enzo Maresca, the current Chelsea manager, who did that job. Manuel Mendonça, neatly done. Costa, clipping it in deep. Denilson Santos stretching to reach it, was able to bring it under control. Gonçalves to Manuel Mendonça, and wide it goes again. Just pulled it a fraction. Another side of goal, this time for the skipper. Manchester City will be a little concerned by the early pattern of play right now. Mendonça scored in the last home game here, the 2-2 draw with Lille on match day 1. There's a yellow card in there for Charlie Gray, that's why, just clearing that one up. Had hold of the shirt of Mendonça right in front of the referee. So a couple of early cautions for Manchester City. A bit of space for Ariol this time, and now Gonçalves. Despite the fact that those in sky blue are back behind the ball inside their own half. Haven't been able to get Boadu into it yet. He's the big threat recently in front of goal. Enrique Ariol wider. Costa's cross is overhit. May well be kept in play on the other side though, and is for Manuel Mendonça to try and make something of. Ariol's challenge, and he was caught, was he there? The referee says so, by Mukasa. Let's have another look at it. Yeah, there's the contact, only just outside the penalty area where it's been given. Referee was perfectly placed, and it was outside. Despite the fact he went down in the area, I don't think there was a secondary touch anyway. It was all part of the way that he fell, but it's still a very promising position, this, for Sporting. We've seen already how Flavio Gonçalves fancies his chances from this type of territory. He immediately grabbed hold of the ball. He's had Watmouth worried already so far this afternoon. Rayhan Mamad also standing over it, but it does look like Flavio Gonçalves is the favourite to strike this. Plenty to aim for in the middle as well, but he was always likely to go directly for goal. He knew, I think, though, from the moment it left his boot, it wasn't quite on target. Wasn't quite going where he wanted it to. Another range setter, he has to chalk that one down as, really. Manchester City really struggling to exert their authority on the game in this opening quarter. They remain on terms. Mukasa's effort sees a little bit of pinball in midfield. Mikhail Samuel. England under-18 international. He's played a couple of times for the under-21s in the EFL Trophy against senior lower league English opposition. Very different type of challenge today. Well, excellent experience though, in terms of his development. Braithwaite. Divine Mukasa was caught, takes the free kick quickly. Finds Charlie Gray. Alpha Ruprecht. Isolating Denilson Santos, who did really well up against him, and then stretching to try and prevent the concession of the corner. He was a little bit unlucky, Denilson Santos, because he'd won it well initially here. Oh, and that was close, wasn't it? Assistant referee was right on the spot. So Manchester City do get the corner, which they take short to Divine Mukasa. In by Samuel. Clearance as far as Maxa Lane. They go back through Mikhail Samuel into their own half of the field, and will look to build again, Manchester City. Beyond the midway point of the first half now. Nothing in it in Alcochete as yet. Heskey forward, it's a good ball if Alpha Ruprecht can reach it, and he does. Taking on Lucas Dominguez, who stands his ground, shepherds him away from immediate danger very carefully. Samuel. This is Braithwaite stepping inside. And Fooney up from the back. In by Mukasa. Clearance out only as far as Alpha Ruprecht, but the whistle has gone. Better though from Manchester City. They were thwarted by the flag at the end of it, but a little more promising period of pressure. Boadu was the one in the offside position, as you saw. Just giving Sporting a bit more to think about. Max-Alain forward, it's cut out by Enrique Ariol. He's another of the 19-year-olds, one of the more experienced in the Sporting side in midfield. Seen quite a bit of it as they look to build up the play. Then they go longer here. This one will reach Flavio Gonçalves in first time towards Denilson Santos. Covered a lot of ground to get there at the full-back. Furthest forward when the cross came in. He did get his foot to it first, but it cannons away off Max-Alain for the corner. Levels up the corner kick count. Miguel Montero, an obvious target up from centre-back. Just waiting for Enrique Ariol to arrive in the middle as well. It's a deeper delivery though. Goalkeeper not able to get it, but does get the benefit of the doubt from the referee. Free kick Manchester City. Chance to clear their lines. It was an awkward one. Daniel Costa certainly feeling it was there to be attacked, but he was the player penalised in the process of doing so. Did have a disappointing result at the weekend, did Sporting. They lost 3-1 at their great rivals Benfica on Friday, the current league leaders in the under-19 South Division in Portugal. Currently sit fourth in the standings, having finished 5th overall last season, somewhat disappointingly. That defeat on Friday ended a 5-match unbeaten league run. They'd gone 8 games without defeat in all competitions until then, looking to bounce back today. It's effectively the same side that plays in this competition. They are both under-19 tournaments. Referee reaching for his card again. And that's to Manuel Mendonça, I think, the Sporting captain. Their first name taken. Confirmation of his caution. Farid Alpha Ruprecht for Manchester City. Away from Mendonça, he couldn't prevent the cross from coming in. There was a slight touch to it on the way across, though, and Enrique Ariol met it, brought it clear of immediate danger. Costa still with work to do. Miguel Montero. Back to Daniel Costa. And now Felicissimo. Gonçalves, he's got a little more room in which to work, and Denilson Santos was on the move again down that side. He was the intention, I think, for the pass. It didn't get there, but on the other side it's Daniel Costa. Now Mamad. Costa. Ryan Mamad once more. And towards Denilson Santos from Felicissimo. Just running out of room. Nearly, but not quite for Sporting. And 9 points behind Benfica now at the top of their domestic championship, with 1 game in hand after that defeat on Friday. 3rd league loss of the season already, though, just 10 games in. The other 2 both actually came here at home. But it has been a different story in the UEFA Youth League, where they've scored twice, at least twice, in all 3 games so far. Going further back, Sporting unbeaten in their last 6 home matches in this competition. Winning it in the air against Gabriel Silva, that's a key contest as well. It's a battle that Gabriel Silva will hope to be able to play on the floor, really, given the respective statures of the two. Scored twice, Gabriel Silva, in the 3-1 victory at Sturm Graz last time out. Here's Costa. Comfortable take for Watmouth. It was straight through to him. Played the last two, as I mentioned, in this competition coming into today. Oliver Watmouth, Jack Wint, the other one. And he made his debut in the competition in that disappointing defeat with which to start in September against Inter. They bounced back well from then. It's a little loose. Sporting have it back. Half an hour in Alcochete. The one leading the press, really, ensuring that nobody has too much time on the ball, even when Sporting have it on the edge of their own penalty area. And now they've lost it. Regan Heskey is on the charge, and he did really well, looking for a Boadu in the middle. Miguel Montero there to deny him, but Sporting was stretched. Throw will be left for Caden Braithwaite to take. There's a lane. And Funi. Mukasa reaching it just ahead of Miguel Montero. No trouble though for Miguel Guvela, ever present for Sporting in their goal in this competition, the 17-year-old. Portuguese under-18 international. He started actually the 2-2 draw with England in the recent friendly in September. As did a number of his Sporting teammates, actually. Chase on here for Gabriel Silva, well dealt with by Alain. Koulidan needed to be as well. He will also draw the foul and win the free kick, to the frustration of Denilson Santos. Sporting, it appears, content to let Manchester City have it a little more in this part of the pitch. They're not pressing quite as high as the visitors, not just at the moment anyway. So Samuel with a bit of time here. It's a good run, this, from Mikhail Samuel. Let's get the free kick at the end of it. Out comes the card, this time for Felicissimo. Caution's coming pretty quickly in this first half. Manchester City not hanging around in keeping the pressure on. Charlie Gray goes back though to Alain. Certainly plenty of talent in attack for Manchester City, capable of having a big impact on a game as tight as this one. Not quite been able to put them in the positions yet to do that sort of damage. But certainly that front three, Alpha Ruprecht on the right, Regan Heskey on the left and Aboadu down the middle. More than capable in their own right of coming up with the quality to make it count. Costa just unable to keep that one in play. Covered a lot of ground down that right-hand side to get there in the first place. But of course, that's the beauty of this competition. Sides like Manchester City coming up against teams in equally strong positions domestically, with equally exciting young talents of their own. They're certainly not having it all their own way here. And it's all part of the learning curve, of course, at this stage for these players. Over a decade into the UEFA Youth League now, and the benefits of it have been plain to see for all involved. Always satisfying to see players from this competition take this next step up. And senior sides in Europe as well. It's going to be another card, this time for Kyle Samuel. This time the challenge. Would have been disappointed to find himself in that position, having to make the challenge in the first place, really. Stepped across and caught Flavio Gonçalves. Got player, not ball. Certainly an opportunity here for Sporting to get players forward again, to deliver this one into dangerous territory. It looks like Gonçalves once more will be charged with the responsibility of doing so. Ryan Mamard is the other player involved. It's going to be Mamard this time. Trying a little bit differently. Blocked behind by Jaden Heskey for the corner. Element of surprise about this one. It's Lucas Dominguez, the centre-back, trying to get round the back and return it. Degree of success in forcing this corner kick, for which Sporting will pack the penalty area. Posse of players all awaiting the delivery here. A bit too close to the goalkeeper, but Watmoff again opting to punch it. Looked like he could come and claim that cleanly. Instead, the challenge that came in was not a clean one from Alpha Ruprecht. It's another Sporting free kick. Again, it's in a dangerous position, just outside that penalty area. Looks like he gets away with a warning, though, rather than another card. Plenty of challenges flying in this first half. Not all of them particularly well timed, as it's turned out. So again, Rayhan Mamard and Flavio Gonçalves stand over it. Much wider, this one. So this time it will be Gonçalves. Again, the goalkeeper came, didn't get there. Put to the angle just against Gabriel Silva, who can locate only the side netting. Didn't really do so with conviction when he caught it. Samuel was stationed in position on the post anyway, so it was unlikely to have got beyond him, even if that one had been on target. But the majority of efforts on goal or at goal continue to be at the Manchester City goal. We'll try and change that here with Jaden Heskey. Alpha Ruprecht picking it up in that familiar position. Support from Samuel. Taken away from Alpha Ruprecht though by Denilson Santos, who did really well. Neat little flick from Gabriel Silva for Manuel Mendonça. Slipping it into some space here. Mamard. And Braithwaite did well to get back to him. And then goes careering across. Down went Mamad, corner flag keeping the ball in play. It's a swift sporting break though. Under pressure at one end, all of a sudden they were at the other. And Ray and Mamad frustrated that there wasn't a rather greater reward for them at the end of that. Samuel down the line for Alpha Ruprecht. Santos sticking tight to his task wherever that tussle is being conducted on the pitch, anywhere down that flank really. He's keeping Alpha Ruprecht company, that's for sure. Samuel with the throw again. Miguel Montero guarding it back to his goalkeeper. They're not given a lot of time on the ball because of the presence of Aboadu. Space though for Manuel Mendonça, and this spells trouble for Manchester City. He does have options in support of the attack as well. Mamad to Enrique Ariol, he's the one that has the hits, and this time it is gathered up by Oliver Watmer. Wasn't really extended by that one, but Sporting given incentive already to, I think, try their luck from that sort of range, given what we've seen. Inside the final 5 of this first half now. Six attempts at goal from the home side. Now 2 of those on target. We're yet to see one at the other end. Manchester City were just waiting, I think, for that loose pass. They were patient, keeping their shape behind the ball, not pressing with quite the same intensity that time. And they did get the ball back. But they need to show more really coming forward to Ben Wilkinson's side than we've seen so far. It's perhaps about providing themselves with a platform in Portugal in the first half, and will we see them push on in the second half? That may well be the intention. Given a bit to think about though by this lively Sporting team thus far. Inter, Atalanta and Salzburg, the teams at the top of the table with maximum points through the first 3 games. And then comes Sporting, one of 5 clubs on 7 points. Manchester City a point behind them. Samuel forward, asking Alpha Ruprecht to chase it. Again, Denilson Santos was there with him, making it more difficult. That's been a recurring theme of this first half. Plenty of changes, as I mentioned, behind the scenes recently, or incoming at least, in the next week or so. And they will have an effect on the academy, potentially. Remains to be seen exactly who will be going with Ruben Amorim and who moves where as a result of the reshuffle. Helped on by Flavio Gonçalves, runs away from Gabriel Silva. Lane did well. Battle on for Jadon Heskey here. Preserves possession for his team. The captain on the ball, Max Elaine. Top 6 finishers in the league phase will take on the teams ranked 17th to 22nd. Those in between will face the 10 teams coming through from the domestic champions path. Mind you, the fixtures mirror the Champions League only through the first 6 match days. And the Youth League phase will be complete. Draw for the round of 32 taking place 5 days before Christmas. And those matches taking place in February. Carl Samuel, he's got a bit of space here to assess his options. Heskey ahead of him. Samuel. For Ruprecht. Back to Kyle Samuel. Seeing plenty of it just at the moment. We'll find out very shortly how much added time there will be at the end of the first 45. As Stephen Mfuni brings it up from the back. Looking for Regan Heskey. He will get the corner out of it, will Heskey there, just the solitary added minute. So there won't be time for too much more after this corner in the first period. Manchester City still looking for their first attempt at goal. Might that come here? Decent ball in. Still may be the danger if Alpha Ruprecht can reach it and return it. Shouldn't be a surprise that Denilson Santos was there to stop him. But a throw taken pretty quickly. And towards Heskey, barged off the ball. No penalty, says the referee. Was, again, well positioned. Very quickly made clear his decision when Heskey went down. Strong challenge, but a fair one, was the interpretation of Florian Latta. By the time that Guvella clears this one away, you'd expect to hear the half-time whistle. And there it goes. So nothing in it at the break then in Alcochete. Sporting have had the better chances. In fact, really, they've had the only chances. 2 of those on target, yet to see one from Manchester City at the other end. But defensively, they've held firm and kept Sporting at bay. And this story will be decided surely in the second half. Nothing to split them so far. At the break, it's Sporting 0, Manchester City 0. So it is Manchester City that get the action back underway. Can they find their threat from here on in? Build on a decent defensive showing. For Ruprecht immediately off in pursuit of that, trying to make something of a statement from the start of the second half, but in an immediate renewal of that battle with Denilson Santos that featured frequently throughout the first half. The ball is bundled out of play. It will, though, be an opportunity here for Manchester City. A free kick right on the touchline almost. Chance to bring the likes of Maxilene, the captain, up from the back. And Mfuni in there as well, his fellow centre-back. Boadu always a target in these sort of situations too. So in it goes, and out from Miguel Montero. Charlie Gray trying to reach it, will return it for Alpha Ruprecht. Dancing his way towards the byline and looking to cut back the cross, heavily involved right from the restart. Alpha Ruprecht. Again, no space though because of Denilson Santos, and it did just brush off the defender. That's why the corner's been given. So those that came up for the last one have pretty much stayed up there, haven't really had time to get back again, but it doesn't come in directly this time. Instead, it's worked short for Charlie Gray. Elaine. There's Braithwaite. Regan Heskey taking a tumble. Referee wasn't interested immediately. Has to step in now because there was a little bit that followed between Heskey and Daniel Costa. The initial challenge was right in front of Ben Wilkinson, the Manchester City coach down there. Made very clear his interpretation of it straight away. They do get the free kick now. Eventually, Braithwaite takes it, teasing it down the line for the run of Mukasa. I've been disappointed to be dispossessed in that position. The ball had just gone out of play before Felicissimo could clear it. He's the one that won it well. I want to see more, won't you, from his side, Wilkinson, in the second half. His under-21 team winning their last 7 Premier League 2 matches, including 5-0 against Norwich City on Friday, with that Regan Heskey hat-trick. Under-18s won the FA Youth Cup last season when they beat Leeds United 4-0 in the final, with Wilkinson in charge. Against the club, of course, with whom his dad Howard won the league title, the last English manager to do that in England's top tier. And Funi on the charge, looking for Heskey. Bit more attacking intent, though, from Manchester City. Hasn't yet translated into an attempt at goal, but it would appear only a matter of time. They're more on the front foot than we saw them earlier. Very short sample size still, of course, in this second half, and they've lost it here. Little flick by Gabriel Silva. Into space, if Denilson Santos can reach it, and he does, and he gets his shot away, and he scores the opening goal for Sporting. The fullback the furthest forward to apply the finish. And they will argue they deserve that. The home team ahead. Couldn't find the breakthrough in the first half. They've been pushed back at the start of the second, but catch Manchester City on the counter. And Denilson Santos scores his second goal of this season's UEFA Youth League. He also opened the scoring on match day 3 at Sturm Graz last time out. On that occasion, just 4 minutes into the match. This time it comes 4 minutes into the second half. But it was really smartly taken. Well, we've referred frequently to the excellent defensive job that he's done up against Alpha Ruprecht. But at the other end, he is equally effective. Just out of the reach of what Mafu couldn't reach it. Couldn't get fingertips to it. And the 17-year-old scores for Sporting. And they are on course for a third straight win as it stands in the Youth League. Ironically, coming at a stage of the game where Manchester City were maybe having their best spell. They look to respond straight away here with Regan Heskey. Comes off Costa. Super counter, though, wasn't it, from Sporting? Swiftly through the gears into space. And clinical at the end of it. Mukasa. Here's Gray. Block was by Manuel Mendonça, as was the clearance, although he's hooked it back into dangerous territory there. Divine Mukasa intervened importantly for Manchester City to win it back. Braithwaite. This time they go back to Stephen Mfuni and a lane alongside in the centre-backs combine. Challenge laid down then to the English team. Back-to-back clean sheets they'd kept coming into this. Now they have to do it the hard way. Guvella just about able to locate the room to complete the clearance. Thiago Teixeira getting the start to the second half that he was hoping for. And former sporting director at nearby Vitória Setúbal. Here's Mukasa for Manchester City to have a hit. Ricochets around a little bit. Boadu trying to pick up the pieces, and he was a little unlucky that he wasn't able to do so. There has been a response from those in blue. Although in fairness, it is more a continuation of the pattern of play in the second half so far. The Sporting goal was something of the outlier in that respect. But they were the better team and the more dominant force really throughout the first half. Now have something to show for it. Regan Heskey. Now for Ruprecht. Back down the line for Samuel. Test of character for these young Manchester City players now. So they try and come back from behind. They go longer towards Heskey. Regan Heskey again. Boadu had continued his run. He was able to reach it, ask the questions with the cross. Nobody able to take advantage, though, amongst his teammates, and Sporting clear. Max-Alain. It is to he that they will look to for leadership, really, in this situation. Now Heskey. Almost inadvertently came the way of brother Jayden. Daniel Costa. Lamard goes down. Looked for a moment as if Manchester City might be able to come away with that, but the whistle has gone. The free kick has been given in favour of Mamad, playing in that slightly more advanced role today down the left-hand side. And you've seen him do a job previously at left-back as well. You suspect in the circumstances that Sporting may have a lot more defending to do from here on in than we've seen so far. Gabriel Silva dropping deep, linking the play. Flavio Gonçalves forward, asking Manuel Mendonça to chase it down. And he will continue to do so to close down Watmough. Goalkeeper able to reach halfway with the clearance. This is a difficult place for opposing teams to come in this competition. Players may change, of course, but the proud history of bringing through their own, the reputation of the academy in this part of Lisbon is well renowned. It might open up here again for Denilson Santos, possibly. Gabriel Silva is there as well. He has it with a sight of goal, and he scores! 2-0. That's a brilliant finish. And Sporting stretched clear early in the second half. Gabriel Silva. And just like Denilson Santos, he was also on the score sheet last time out. He got 2 at Sturm Graz. He's got another one here in some style. Manchester City's defenders just stood off him a little bit. Off balance maybe as he turned back infield onto the right boot. But he was invited really to have a go. And the visitors have paid a heavy price. Clinical from Sporting. The home side in charge. Oliver Watmough beaten again. Wasn't afforded maybe an awful lot of protection by those in front of him this time, but it was super stuff from Gabriel Silva. Denilson Santos again playing his part and linking up with him in the opposition penalty area. Scorer of the first goal. with a helping hand in the second one as well. Gabriel Silva now their top scorer in this season's Youth League. Not yet an hour in, and Manchester City with it all to do. Interesting to see how Sporting approach it now that they've got that 2-goal cushion. They certainly don't have to take any risks. The onus is all on those in sky blue. Might not be long before Ben Wilkinson opts to make some changes, but he doesn't have too many options available. Naming just the 5 substitutes today. One of those is a goalkeeper. This is a bit more promising for them, though, with Regan Heskey. Need to get he and Aboadu back into the game, or into the game more frequently than they've managed so far. Cleared out here as far as Charlie Gray. And Funi. Divine Mukasa. Second straight start for him in the Youth League, having stepped into the 11 for the first time in the victory over Sparta last time out. Second season since his signing from West Ham, the England under-18 international. Says much, though, that Aboadu there was on halfway when he picked up possession, trying to get his team moving forward again. No way through for Alpha Ruprecht. He does have support from Jaden Heskey. But Sporting will get the free kick for that, and Jaden Heskey will join his brother in the book. First caution of the second half. We saw the yellow card come out pretty frequently in the first 45. Catching Denilson Santos. Down goes the goal scorer. Gabriel Silva has stayed down. No free kick forthcoming, though. Already without Afonso Moreira through injury. He was the goal scorer in the victory at PSV on match day 2. Started the first couple of games in the competition. The Portuguese under-19 international currently sidelined. He was a regular actually in the team that reached the semi-finals of this competition last time they were in it 2 seasons ago. Still yet to have an attempt at goal, Manchester City. They trail by 2 an hour in. Well, still only 16, Regan Heskey, but he was a goal scorer actually last season in this competition on his debut in the Youth League for Manchester City. Goals have been flowing at whatever age range he's been playing with so far this season. Goal a game for the under-18s through 7 matches so far. Then that hat-trick, as I mentioned, on Friday for the under-21s. Scored on his debut in the Football League Trophy at Grimsby in October. That goal on debut in this competition last season came in a 3-0 home win against Young Boys. Almost exactly a year ago, all but 2 days short. But they need something and fairly soon, you sense, Manchester City, if they're to find a foothold in the game, give themselves hope of getting back into it, getting something out of it. This runs away from Costa. And Funi. Couple of appearances for England's under-17s at the European Championship in Cyprus earlier this year for Stephen Mfuni. This is Jaden Heskey, able to reach it first, almost came for Mukasa. Clearance came first, though, importantly for Sporting. Now Gray. Down the line from Alpha Ruprecht. And they'll have to build again from the back. Here's Gray. Only out as far as Heskey with a sight of goal. And he can't locate the target. Certainly in the context of the contest, that was a big chance for Manchester City. It's their first attempt at goal, but it was off target from Jaden Heskey. From a position in which he would have expected to at least work the goalkeeper, if not get a goal back for his team. They will take heart, though, from the creation of that opportunity. Or at least they should. There's a little bit of uncertainty at the back that helped provide it. They'll hope to force more of that as the game goes on. All the visitors. Mukasa. And again. Back for Mfuni. Skips away from Manuel Mendonça. Initially, anyway. Alain thought about going all the way back to Watmuff. Wasn't really on, but Braithwaite's been dispossessed here. Just gets back to Manuel Mendonça in time to undo the damage. And that's a lovely ball. Looking for Regan Heskey. And Costa on the stretch, had to time that right and did. It's a really good challenge from Daniel Costa. On the stretch, little margin for error, that's for sure. But it was beautifully timed. Throw will be left for Caden Braithwaite. And Mfuni. We're going to see Ryan McAdoo shortly, I think. First Manchester City change is imminent. And Mfuni too far forward. Just overhit that one, trying to spark something, looking for Divine Mukasa. So the change will happen here. And it will be Farid Alpha Ruprecht to make way for Ryan McAdoo. He's certainly got a bit more involved in the game than others, but it hasn't quite happened for him. He hasn't been able to have the usual influence on proceedings, really, up against Denilson Santos. So McAdoo will get his opportunity. The 16-year-old started 2 of the first 3 games, is off the bench to maintain his ever-present record in this competition so far this season. His first season in it. The other attacking option in reserve, really, for Ben Wilkinson today is Matthew Warhurst. Also amongst the substitutes. The only other outfield players, a defender in Kian Noble and Oluwafemi Fapatu, who's involved in the Youth League squad for the first time. Here's Denilson Santos for Sporting. And as we've seen so far, that usually spells trouble. Felicissimo. Costa advanced. Costa's cross. Cleared by Mfuni. Safety first at the expense of the corner. Not quite seen enough yet, have we, from Manchester City to suggest that they're likely to get back in this game. More is certainly required in that respect. More defending to do first, though. Again, Miguel Montero makes his way up from the back for the home team, who have already maintained their record of scoring at least twice in every youth league game that they've played so far this season. 2 wasn't enough here to win it against Lille. 2-2 on match day 1, 2-0 at PSV, and then 3-1 at Sturm Graz last time out, a couple of weeks ago. See what they've got from the corner, going in search of the third today. That might just settle it, but it's straight at Watmoth, for which the goalkeeper will be grateful. Sporting winning the first ball when it came in. Into the game's closing quarter we go, with the home team on top. Funi, bit of work to do, kept his composure though. There's a lane. First involvement for Makadu. He's covered good ground very quickly and got his shot away, that's better. Brings the save from Miguel Guvella. Got down smartly and he had to. Urgency provided by the Manchester City substitute. Just beyond the midway point of the second half came their first attempt on target of the match. Said safety first at the time when that one was put over the top, and I think I'll stick with that assessment that it was intentional, but not entirely sure having just seen the replay. There's Mfuni again. Brought down by Rayhan Mamad this time. But the challenge certainly has been laid down to Wilkinson's team from here. Sporting asking what they've got. So far it's not been enough. Overrun by Manuel Mendonça in midfield, though, breaks favourably for Regan Heskey. Slips it through into the run of Mukasa. Back for Heskey here, if he can dig it out from under his feet. He's completely outnumbered, but he's done brilliantly as Heskey. And this is Makadu. And it's nicked away from him by Flavio Gonçalves. Although Makadu's got it back again, and he goes down. Caught, I think, just outside the area. The card is out for the challenge on him. It's only just outside the area, isn't it, where the referee is marking the spot. Frantic little passage of play. And he's made a difference, Ryan Makadu, heavily involved already since his introduction just a few minutes ago. Bringing the save from Guvella, the first to say that in City colours, and now winning the free kick. Little stumble from Flavio Gonçalves, who'd initially dispossessed him. There's the slip, there's the challenge. Just outside the area. He has been cautioned for it, Flavio Gonçalves. Charlie Gray standing over it. Mukasa interested as well. Flashes it in, and it's touched over the top by Miguel Guvella. Really good save, because that was heading under his crossbar. That was well struck by Mukasa. Took the wall out of the equation by a considerable margin. And it needed the flying intervention of Miguel Guvella. When he has been called upon, he's been equal to the task so far. It's a couple of occasions more latterly now. Manchester City try and force their way back into this. Makadu. Alain trying to use his body strength there, but it didn't quite work for him. They are gradually finding their threat, those from Manchester, but have they left themselves too much to do? Less than 20 minutes of the 90 to find out now, plus whatever is added on after that. Get one back at this stage, and it could set them up for a stirring comeback potentially, but so far, Sporting holding strong. Costa waiting to take the throw. Got English opposition again. Next up, back here to Sporting on match day 5. Arsenal the visitors, 3 weeks from now. There goes McAdoo, trying to get in behind, then he goes down again. The referee makes very clear straight away his assessment of the situation. Again, it's not what Manchester City wanted to hear. But I think there needed to be a bit more in that as McAdoo went down for the penalty to be given. It was a glance in the referee's direction, more in hope, really, than expectation, I think. Went well by Max Alain. Back from Manuel Mendonça. Forward by Gonçalves. And Gabriel Silva almost through, brought down by Alain. And the referee reaching straight for the pocket. Max Alain in all sorts of trouble there when he found himself in that position. A straight red card. He is sent off. The skipper dismissed. Manchester City 2 down. Now down to 10 players. With a free kick to follow in dangerous territory as well. The odds are stacked against them from here. He was away, though, by the looks of that, Gabriel Silva, before that little pullback. The card was out very quickly, the referee in no doubt. So the skipper sent off on his return to the team, his first Youth League appearance of the season, Max Alain. Stepping in to deputise today with Jamai Simpson-Pusi promoted to the senior squad. Where Manchester City will be hoping for better fortune in what will be Ruben Amorim's farewell to the Jose Alvalade. But that's for later. More to come maybe for Sporting here against Manchester City, as they look to make it 3 wins on the bounce in the Youth League. All sorts of possibilities from the free kick. Just glanced off the wall maybe, did it? It certainly went well wide of the target. Flavio Gonçalves' effort. Maybe it was the bend on the ball rather than a touch off the wall. It certainly changed direction. Didn't miss by much, but was always missing by enough. Another Manchester City change then. Off comes Divine Mukasa. Not long since he came close with that free kick of his own, which was turned over by Miguel Guvela. He's going to be replaced by Kian Noble. And Mukasa may be a victim of circumstance really here after the sending off of Alain, requiring the introduction off the bench of another defensive player in Kian Noble. The 17-year-old who played in the competition last season as well. It's his second substitutes appearance in it this time around. But what a difficult situation to step into for Manchester City. 2 behind with 10 into the closing quarter of an hour of the contest. Gabriel Silva. Flavio Gonçalves. Did well to hold on to that under some pressure, support from Mendonça. Fast feet from him as well. Was being held back, was he there? But still Sporting have it. This is Costa in first time. Oh, nobody could quite apply the decisive touch to it in the middle. Agonisingly across from Costa. Really good ball. Bent it into the right sort of area. And there were plenty stretching, but just not quite close enough to it. Sporting changes incoming. Changes that will be made from a position of strength, but that's been given away carelessly. Straight to Aboadu. Wasn't able to find Makadu. He's been in really good form, Justin Aboadu, recently, but he hasn't got into this game as yet today. He's their top scorer in this competition. Goal a game so far in the Youth League coming into it, thanks to his hat-trick against Sparta Prague. Different story so far in Portugal this afternoon. Costa just got himself in front of Braithwaite before taking a tumble, but there was no foul in there, say the officials. Third straight start for Daniel Costa at right back, having debuted at PSV on match day 2, kept his place ever since. So Gabriel Silva's coming off here. Having got his goal to provide that insurance in the scoreline for Sporting, and then forcing the sending off of Max Delaney as well. He was the player that was in on goal when brought down. Marquez Martins is coming on. It'll be part of a double change. Mamad also making way for Mikhail Sanhat. This is worth another luck, isn't it? Not quite settled it yet for Sporting with the second, but has them very much in the ascendancy as a result of that. So it's a Youth League debut for Marquez Martins, on as a substitute. Third appearance in 4 off the bench for Mikhail Sanhat, the other one to step in. Sporting just freshening things up though. Thiago Teixeira making those changes going into the last 10 minutes in attacking areas. And his team's sitting very comfortably right now. Were they not to see this through from here with the numerical advantage as well, something would have to go badly wrong for Sporting. They might fancy more at the other end. That was a poor touch as well from the substitute Noble that almost let them in. Gets away with it. Here's Lucas Dominguez under pressure. Into double figures now, Sporting, for attempts at goal. Half of those have been on target. Has the air almost of a damage limitation exercise for Manchester City at the moment. He's confirming that other change as well, Mikhail Sanhat on for Mamad. Well, they went into today 9th in the table of the 36 teams, Manchester City having won 2 of their first 3. But they will lose ground after this, if it stays like this. Nearly, but not quite for Daniel Costa. And because of the early start, Sporting will be going top if it stays like this. They'll be the first to 10 points in the league phase, although the 3 teams that have maximum points We'll still hope to overhaul them later into Atalanta and Salzburg. But 3 straight wins, given the level of opposition that they've encountered today, would be hugely satisfying for Sporting. Unmerited, really. Manuel Mendonça leaving it to Enrique Ariol. Wider for Costa. Plenty of time on the ball now for those in green. It's just what they needed after that loss to Benfica on Friday night. And on course as well for a second clean sheet in this season's Youth League competition. That will certainly be of real satisfaction for Sporting against a City side that had scored 7 without replying, winning their last 2. They also scored twice, Manchester City, in defeat at home to Inter on match day 1. That 4-2 loss in front of their own fans. Their remaining 2 fixtures at home to Feyenoord and away at Juventus. After the Arsenal game that I mentioned, by the way, Sporting will finish with a trip to Belgium to play Club Brugge. Chasing experience this is developing into, isn't it, for Manchester City? Chasing shadows, really, at times now, with 10. 2 down, and just wanting the whistle, it would appear. No real signs since the sending off, certainly, of any way back into the game for them. This could be dangerous, but the ball's just behind Manuel Mendonça, enabling Braithwaite to get there first. Noble did put his keeper under a little bit of pressure with a back pass, though. Watmouth straight into touch with a clearance of his own. Further changes. The last 2 outfield players available to Ben Wilkinson are going to be brought on here. Matthew Warhurst, and a Youth League debut for the 17-year-old midfield player Oluwafemi Fapatu. There's going to be a Sporting change in there as well, I think. Boadu is making way, so it's Charlie Gray for Manchester City. Fapatu will replace him. Warhurst will go up top. Daniel Costa coming off for Sporting. Salvador Blopa will be his replacement. Like for like at right back. Salvador Blopa did start the draw with Lille here at the start of the league phase, before Daniel Costa took over in that position. Manuel Mendonça. First involvement for Salvador Blopa. Well advanced already down the right. Portuguese under-18 international. He played the first half of their 2-2 draw with England in September. He's back on the ball here, challenging for that one against Braithwaite. And he's into the book already as a result of that challenge. Judged to have been an unfair one by referee Lata. That didn't take long, did it? Introduced on 86 minutes, yellow carded on 87, Salvador Blopa. Those cautions keep coming. Seven yellows and a red so far. Height and distance from Watmouth. Met by Miguel Montero. Denilson Santos. Some good work from Mikel Sana just prior to that. He's got it back now. Looking to make his impact off the bench as well. Bit of a standoff though in these closing stages. Sporting know effectively really that they've got the job done already. Feeling perhaps that maybe both clubs want the whistle. Sporting more than satisfied with the situation. Manchester City trying to limit the damage, although they do have it in a more promising position here. First involvement for Warhurst. It was helped out there by Fapatu. Free kick will be forthcoming. Felicissimo's challenge, he has to be careful, he's one of those on a yellow. There are plenty walking that disciplinary tightrope at the moment. So can they find the favourable angle here with the ball into the box? Heading towards the last of the 90 minutes. And it goes from Heskey. Sums up the story somewhat though for Manchester City. Nothing doing for them. And Denilson Santos on his way. Just sees that one run out of play, only just. Sporting continuing their recent unbeaten record in this competition here at Stadium Aurelio Pereira, so named after their former player who created the club's youth department back in the late 80s, and he coordinated it for over 30 years. Thanks of Luis Figo and Cristiano Ronaldo coming through in that time. Forms part of Sporting's training complex in the municipality here of Algeciras, just east of Lisbon itself. Fapatu. Just Braithwaite, and now Mfuni. Jayden Heskey, having taken over the captain's armband, is the one who slips the pass forward. They've dealt with those well all day, though, Sporting, in those sort of situations. They have 4 more minutes to try and close out the clean sheet. Into the first of those additional minutes. Plenty of effort and endeavour all afternoon from Manchester City, but there just hasn't been that cutting edge really at the end of it. There maybe hasn't quite been the conviction either. Ironically falling behind and conceding probably both the goals at a stage of the game when they were looking their most threatening in attack, having not managed a single attempt at goal in the first half. But they went in on terms all square. This one got away from them before the hour. Conceding twice in the space of 7 second half minutes, and then certainly since the sending off of Max Alain, there has been no way back for them. Lucas Dominguez, the 18-year-old Spaniard at the heart of defence for the Portuguese. Enjoying it, aren't they, back in this competition after the run to the semis the last time that they were in it. Didn't lose a single game in what was still a group stage on that occasion. 5-1 win against Ajax, put Liverpool out at the quarter-final stage. Only lost on penalties to the eventual winners AZ. Eager to show what they can do now they're back in the Youth League this season, and impressing certainly so far. There might be a bit of space for Warhurst. How many Sporting have got back, though, in those positions. They are determined to keep the clean sheet today. Determined to see this through in some style. Keep Manchester City at bay in the manner that they've managed all the way through the match until now. They have done so with a real degree of authority. They've done so, it would seem, with something to spare. Mikel Salah in the mood for more, looking to sign off in style, the substitute. He has been lively since coming on, but dispossessed here. And Makadu can foray forward for Manchester City. Taking on Ariol, he still has it. Makadu doesn't have a lot by way of support, but he squeezed the shot goalwards. And for a moment it looked like that was in. Certainly had Miguel Guvela worried. Awkward one for him. All his own work, Makadu. Goalkeeper got enough on it as it turned out. He wasn't quite sure, though, was he, when he went down to make the save, whether that was going to stay out of the corner. But the other side of the post it went. And this surely will be the last chance of the game. Goalkeeper comes, not convincingly, but ultimately effectively enough. And despite that late scare, Sporting do see it through with the clean sheet. And they do see off Manchester City with something to spare in the end, thanks to those 2 goals in the space of 7 second-half minutes.